today at how do I obtain police clearance certificate from India for U.S. immigration visa purposes. Indian citizens and nationals and non-Indians living legally in India who are seeking legal permanent residence status in the U.S. must obtain an immigrant visa at the U.S. consulate or embassy nearest to where they live in India. The immigration visa process commences when a family member or a U.S. employer submits a petition with the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the USCIS. Once the petition has been approved by USCIS, it is forwarded to the consulate with jurisdiction over your place of residence. The NVC, that's the National Visa Center, or the consulate will schedule your interview at the U.S. consulate in India, and as soon as the interview is scheduled, you will receive an appointment letter along with final instructions and a list of documents that need to be submitted. This includes your birth certificate, marriage record, evidence of financial support, visa photographs, and a police clearance certificate. What is a police clearance certificate, the PCC? A police clearance certificate is a certificate issued by the concerned police authorities covering the whole period of that applicant's residence in that locality. It also notes whether at any time the applicant was arrested, and along with the reason for and the nature of each case for which there is any evidence or a record. Let's take a look. Rajiv and Raju, brothers, have received notices that their immigrant visa numbers will soon be current, and were advised to gather all the documentation that they will need to complete the process. One of the items they discovered they need is a police clearance certificate. Rajiv has spent his whole life in Hyderabad, but Raju has lived in Singapore and the UAE as well. He lived in the UAE for 5 months and Singapore for 18 months. Where does each brother need to get a PCC from? That's simple for Raju. Since he's only lived in Hyderabad, he will only need to get a PCC from the passport office, and since he got his passport last year in anticipation of this moment, the district police office. However, Raju will have to get PCCs from India, both the passport office and district police, and from the UAE and from Singapore, since he lived outside of India for those 23 months. What is the validity period of the PCC? All police clearance certificates are valid for 1 year from the date of issue, and it must be valid on the day your visa is issued. Necessity to obtain the police clearance certificate from India. Any Indian citizen age 16 or older and currently residing in India whose passport was issued more than 6 months prior to their immigrant visa interview date should obtain a police clearance certificate from both the nearest Indian passport office and the district police in the area in which they reside. However, if your passport was issued less than 6 months prior to your interview date, you only need to get a police clearance certificate from the nearest Indian passport office. A police clearance certificate is required only if you are applying for your immigrant visa or certain non-immigrant visas, the K and V visa, at a U.S. consulate or embassy in India. Police clearance certificates are not required if you're filing for adjustment of status within the United States. A police clearance certificate if filing for adjustment in the U.S. It's not required. If you're currently not residing in India, but are applying for adjustment of status in the United States, you do not need to obtain a police clearance certificate from India. In that situation, you can obtain a police clearance certificate from the nearest Indian consulate. The consulate will complete a police clearance certificate on the basis of a passport check. Where do you apply? If you are residing in India and your Indian passport was issued within the past 6 months, and you are 16 years or older, then you need a police clearance certificate from the passport office. If you are residing in India and your passport was issued more than 6 months prior to the visa application, and you are 16 years or older, then you need a police clearance certificate from both the passport office and the district police office near your place of residence. If you're an Indian passport holder and you are staying outside India and you are 16 years or older, then you need a police clearance certificate from the local embassy or consulate confirming that you have no criminal record. A statement from the embassy or consulate official is acceptable. If you are an Indian passport holder and currently resident in India, but have lived in another country except for the US, and you lived in that foreign country for 12 months or more after reaching the age of 16, then you need a police clearance certificate from the passport office, the district police office serving your place of residence if the passport was issued more than 6 months before your visa application, and the country of previous residence, if it's available. If you are a non-Indian immigrant visa holder residing in India and you are 16 years old or older, then you need a police certificate from the district police office serving the area of your residence. The procedure for obtaining the police clearance certificate. The application form is very simple. To apply for a police clearance certificate, you must complete a miscellaneous application form number 2. These application forms can be obtained from the passport office or can be downloaded from their website. The completed application form can be submitted either personally or through an agent. That agent must have an identity document from you and an authority letter with your signature. Only one application is required unless otherwise specified by the concerned officer. The application fee is required. The fee is currently 300 rupees, along with the application form. This fee can be paid either in cash or by bank draft drawn in favor of the regional passport officer. In case of bank draft, you should write your full name and date of birth on the back side of the bank draft. Documents that are required. The following documents are required to be submitted along with the application form for obtaining the police clearance certificate. You have to have a valid original passport. You have to have proof of residence, and if the applicant has not been in your present address for at least 1 year, a set of 3 completed personal particulars forms. Processing time is generally 7 working days from the date the application is submitted to receive the police clearance certificate. The submission of a police clearance certificate is required when applying for an immigrant visa and certain non-immigrant visas for the U.S. It is a statement which advises the consular officer of any criminal convictions held against your name and whether your name is clear. Knowing when you need one and how to obtain a police clearance certificate can save you a lot of time and aggravation. It is stressful enough without having to try and figure this out at the last minute. If you have any questions about the steps to be taken while applying for an immigrant visa, please consult a Visa Pro immigration attorney. We will be happy to guide you through this process.